For the last couple of years, I've been on a mission to explore some of the most remote fishing that western Oklahoma has to offer. There's some really awesome stuff going on out here and some big fish. And on this week's show, we show off a brand new one that I've never visited before. I'm glad you're along with us. We're in for a half hour of fun. Let's Fish TV is on the air right now. That is a fish. Oh man, look at this.
It's time for the only program that brings you real-time fishing reports from the Southwest region every week.
Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. Woo!
This is Let's Fish.
Well, hi everybody and welcome into the show. And indeed, we are coming to you from a pretty remote place in western Oklahoma. It's set right up in the beautiful Wichita Mountains, and it's not far from Altus, Oklahoma, and just about 6 miles north of Snyder, Oklahoma. Just over my left shoulder, this is Tom Steed Reservoir. It's one of several really good fishing lakes that we've seen over the last couple of years here on the show. Now, I've never been on the lake before. I got a chance to get here before sundown last night and do a little exploring. We'll go out there and see what we can catch. Now, to do that, I've brought along the Caymas CX21 high performance fishing machine. This thing will do it all. We've caught big stripers and white bass and crappie and all kinds of species out of this boat. Today, I don't know what we're gonna catch out there. I'm gonna fish for anything that'll bite. My sources say that there are some really big fish out here, some big crappie, some big white bass, big hybrid stripers, even big blue catfish. So we'll just have to see what the day has to offer. While we're out there exploring, we're taking you around your local region for this week's fishing reports from our expert team of Let's Fish Insider reporters from lakes, rivers, and bays right where you live, both freshwater and saltwater. So right now, this CX21 goes out in the middle of Tom Steed Reservoir in western Oklahoma. Next time you see me, I hope to have a fish on. Right now, it all gets started back at the studio and your weekend planner.
Hey everybody, these Salooner tables are predicting poor game fish activity throughout both days this weekend, but don't let that stop you from going fishing. Peak game fish activity begins around sunrise at 7:37 on Saturday and 8:22 Sunday morning. Best evening action will begin at 7:57 on Saturday and 8:37 Sunday. Depending on your area, the sun will rise around 7:38 and set around 6:43, and evenings will feature a moon that is 53% visible. Stay with us, we've got fishing reports from across the area on the way, plus I'll return with Tawakoni Guide Service Guide Michael Littlejohn on this week's Ask the Pro feature. Back in a bit.
Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. Bobby Garland Crappie Baits and the original Baby Shad and new slab Huntar Minnow. Glacier Glove. Stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades. Balls Out. Made in the USA. Heavy duty mounts for your fish finders. And by Caymas Boats. Tomorrow's tournament boat today.
And man, this thing's got some big old fish in it. It's got big crappie, big hybrid stripers, and big white bass. There we go. Whoa, rodeo. What have I got? Big old white bass. Look at that dude. Wow. All right, we've made it out, everybody. We've made it to western Oklahoma and Tom Steed Reservoir. And there's the first one right there. And that's a great big white bass. I told you that I had no idea what we'd be catching today. And there's a start, a great big white bass. What a beautiful species. Lines down its side. That's a big old white bass for you right there. It's a good start. Got a bite. And we're off. Well, I got a chance to come out here before sundown yesterday and just do a little running around, scouting, graphing, looking, just to orient myself. And let me give you a little information about Tom Steed Reservoir. As I mentioned, it's north of Snyder, Oklahoma. It's out in the western part of the state, around several other good fishing lakes out in this part of the country that don't get a lot of fishing pressure. Tom Steed is about 6,400 surface acres. It's kind of a bean-shaped lake, kind of a U-shaped lake. It's got about 30 miles of shoreline, so it doesn't have a lot of shoreline features. It's pretty smooth around the shorelines. It's about 30 feet deep at its deepest point. It's got kind of an interesting dam. It's a two-tiered, two-pool dam structure. It's on Otter Creek that runs out here through western Oklahoma. And it's sitting right in the middle of the Wichita Mountains, just scenery everywhere. It's just a beautiful setting to do some fishing. The lake's got several different species of fish in it. White bass, hybrid stripers, largemouth bass, crappie, catfish, got most of your game fish species here. It's a great fishing lake. You hardly see any boats when you're out here. You get most of it to yourself. Water's a little bit stained. You can see your bait down about maybe a foot, maybe a little over a foot, something like that. So that gets you oriented to Tom Steed Reservoir. Again, I don't know what we're going to catch today. I've just picked up a spinning rod with a little crappie bait on it. I'm hoping to catch a couple of crappie today, but I'll take whatever bites today. We're just out here fishing on a gorgeous day. Got to start? That's your information about Tom Steed. Let's see what else we can catch out here.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you once again by Skeleton Optics. Family owned, veteran owned, Skeleton's giving you 20% off with the code LONESTAR20. Now this week we've come back to Cedar Creek Lake. We came out with Fort Worth Fishing to do a little sand bass fishing. And when we found them, they were on humps, about 17 to 22 feet deep out on the main lake. And you'll want to use a slab with a little dropper, just like that. Little crappie jig above a slab is a great way to catch them. Now, if for some reason that slows down and doesn't quite work the way you want it to, try trolling the Hell Pet. You know what that is. That's the Hellbender diving crankbait. Treble hooks removed, maybe replace it with a bell weight, and then about 14 to 18 inches behind that, you'll want to tie on a pet spoon, and you'll troll that slowly back and forth over that same hump. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Skeleton Optics. Using the best glass lenses from Zeiss, you truly can see the difference. Be sure and check us out on Facebook, Lone Star Lakes.
There he is. There he is. Got him. What have I got? What is it? Big white. Big old white bass. Look at the size of that slob. Wow. Oh man. There's your Tom Steed special right there. He is welded right in his jaw. Gonna need to grab the pliers. You're with me on my first trip to Tom Steed Reservoir in Oklahoma. And man, this thing's got some big old fish in it. It's got big crappie, big hybrid stripers, and big white bass. I mean, that is a big old fat dude right there. Let him go back. Well, interesting thing. Obviously, I don't know a lot about this lake. What I know is what Todd Huckabee, my guide buddy who guides on Eufaula and here, taught me. But I'm fishing the tops of some trees, and I'm going to explain more about that in a little bit. But I've been watching some of the locals around here. It looks like that other than catching fish out of these treetops, there's a lot of trolling that goes on here. I'm seeing lots of boats. Well, there's not a lot of boats on the lake, but the boats I'm seeing looks like trolling crankbaits and rattle traps and those kind of things, trying to catch those hybrid stripers and some of those big white bass. The lake is relatively featureless on the bottom. What I mean by that is there's not a lot of humps and ridges and underwater points and sharp ledges and drop-offs. The bottom is just kind of a bowl. So when it's like that, the fish are going to migrate to something. It could be a point coming off the bank, it could be shoreline features. There are trees, standing timber out here in the middle of the lake. There are rock piles, so the fish are going to migrate around those types of features. No, it's a walleye. Holy cow. Look at this. I can see my bait. I can see the fish. There he is. Got him. What have I got? What is that? Is that a bass? Largemouth? No, it's a walleye. Holy cow. Look at this. There's a bonus. Good walleye too. And I don't have my net handy, so I'm just gonna have to grab him. How about that? There is another Tom Steed species right there. Welcome back, everybody. We're having a good time catching some fish today now. This is kind of like saltwater fishing. I don't know what I'm gonna catch when I drop down there. That was so cool. That fish was down close to the bottom. I was looking on my Lowrance Live site and I was watching my lure, my little jig. I was watching fish moving around and I could pull that jig up to the fish and watch the fish react to the bait. It's just really, really cool. But there is another bonus species for you. Frankly, I didn't know they were in here. They stock these walleye in a lot of these western Oklahoma lakes, Latonka and Waurika and several of these lakes out here. I'm gonna give you a complete list of all these lakes out here before we finish. But if I were keeping fish today, which you know what? I am gonna keep some fish. I am gonna keep me some walleye, and I hope to catch a couple of crappie before the day's over with, and I'll eat a white bass if I need to. So that one's gonna go in the live well.
Hey, with these chilly days and cold nights that we have had bouncing in and out of Oklahoma over the past week or so, sometimes when we get to this time of year, it's hard to make us fish shallow. And that's exactly what you need to be doing right now for some good bass fishing success. That's what George Tolson has been doing on Lake Hudson on recent outings. He's been going with the LaRue Bifflebug green pumpkin variation colors, rigged on a 7/16 ounce Biffle hardhead, and fishing that combo just like it was designed to do, making long casts with it, keep it constantly moving quickly across those bottom rocky areas. Now, he said his best success has been in 3 to 6 foot of water, but rock has been the key. He has to have rocks. And this time of year, when you're out there with extra clothing on, make sure you wear that life jacket all day long while you're fishing, and remember, you can't catch them if you don't go.
Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Mercury. Go boldly. Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder. Lose, feel the difference. And by Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, Alabama. Get our free fishing guide at orangebeach.com.
Baby, that's a giant crappie. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you want to see more fishing tips, how-to videos, big fish catches, and full episodes of our Let's Fish TV show, be sure to subscribe right here to our YouTube channel. You can also like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. Good fishing out there. There's a bite. Got him. Let's see what I got this time. Ooh, that's a good pull. Big crappie. Look at that dude. Oh my gosh. Is everything in this lake huge? Got him. Golly, look at that. Oh, baby. That's a giant crappie. Oh my word. My buddy Todd Huckabee said that there were some giants in this lake, and he's right. Look at that big old fat crappie right there. Oh man, that dude's going in the live well for sure. I think just for grins, I'm going to stick him on a scale just to show you. I've caught very few legitimate over 2-pound crappie in my life. This one's going to push it. Maybe he's not that big, but let's see right quick. This is my new H2O Express scale. First time I've gotten to use it. Okay, you're going to see it before I do. Cameraman, what does it say?
2.5.
2-pound, 5-ounce crappie. How about that? Put him on here one more time just to be sure. That is a legit 2-pounder right there, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get to catch many that size. All right, well, you know what? That's a big spawning female, or she'll spawn next year and make a bunch of babies. I'm not gonna keep that one. Maybe we'll catch some that are more eating size than that. So I'm gonna put that one back. All right, buddy. There he goes, away. Oh man, I don't get to catch many 2-pound, 5-ounce crappie. That is a true giant out here in these treetops. Well, let me give you, I told you I would explain a little more about the treetop fishing that I'm doing. So what I'm doing is out off the main creek channel, there are a bunch of big giant trees growing up. I don't know if they're oaks or bodarks or what they are, but they're out in about 25 feet of water, and the fish will suspend up in the tops of the trees. It's pretty tricky fishing. You get hung up a lot, you lose some baits, but basically all I'm doing is I'm using my Lowrance live sight on my Fishing Specialties pole right here, and I'm scanning left to right until I find a tree. When I see one, I look on my graph to see how many feet away from the boat it is. I try to get them about 15 feet away. And then I just open my bail and pitch it about that far, about 15, 20 feet out. And I keep my rod tip high, keep it at about 10 or 11 o'clock position on the clock. And I'll let the bait, there was a bite right there. I'll let the bait just swing back toward the boat, and what I'm trying to do is swing it through the branches of the tree. I don't want to let it go down in the tree. It'll get snagged every time. So I'm trying to keep it right above the branches and right along beside those horizontal branches.
Hi everyone, Captain Greg Vern bringing you this week's Upper Texas Coastal Report. Hey, let's start over in Freeport, Texas. Water temperatures did drop a bit this week into the mid-70s, and that did turn some fish on in the back lakes. Hey, over in Chocolate Bay, we have bird action with both specks and reds underneath the birds. Live shrimp under a popping cork is getting them right now. Over at San Luis Pass, well, hey, we have flounder action starting. Right now, we're seeing more males beginning to show up, but with a little cooler weather, hey, the big girls will be moving to the passes as well. Hey, remember, if you want to fish Galveston or Freeport with me or my team, give me a call, check out our websites. We'd love to have you aboard. I'm Captain Greg Varm, and I'll see you next week.
That's fish. All right, I caught one on a crankbait. Well, we're still out here catching them today. That's another white bass. That's been the most of what we've caught are these whites. Actually, that's a small hybrid striper, just a little bitty one. Finally did catch a hybrid, not the size I want, but it is the species I want. See the broken lines down inside, that's a hybrid striper. And they're still stocking them, evidently, in here, because they're that size, but I've also caught some bigger ones. In fact, I wanted to just show you a quick still image I shot when I came out yesterday evening. I was just flipping around, fishing around, and managed to catch one of those big hybrids, and you can see there is it was a really nice size one, 8 or 9 pounds probably, something like that. Also, I want to show you a couple of quick shots here of my brother, Terry Stokes, who's an attorney in Oklahoma City on his day job. But anytime I get near him in Oklahoma, he comes out and runs the television camera for us, does a great job of it. And we even got the cameraman some fish today. He got to fish a little bit and caught a couple of nice crappie as well. So you know it's a good day when the cameraman gets to catch some nice crappie and white bass.
Watch our latest episode or catch up on past episodes on our website at letsfishtv.com. Be sure to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter for new fishing videos every day. And download the free Waypoint TV app to get all the latest episodes every week on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by MotorGuide's Tour Pro, cable steer motor with GPS anchor, Waypoint Marine, the Gulf Coast's leading saltwater boating specialist, Strike King, Taiwan On, and by Low Boats. Welcome to Low Country.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's get right to your Ask the Pro question for this week. Mitch wants to know, how important is the moon phase and barometer reading, and how does it affect fishing? For an answer, we asked Waukene Guide Service guide Michael Littlejohn.
The moon phase Barometric pressure, it's what fishermen are always talking about. Do I go fishing today? Do I wait until next week? Here's the deal. As a fishing guide, I have to fish every single day, regardless if I've got a full moon, if I don't have a moon, if I've got high pressure, if I've got low pressure. And over the years, I've learned that I've caught fish in every condition imaginable. Conditions that I wasn't supposed to catch fish in, we killed them. And on days that we should have killed them, we didn't catch hardly anything. A steady barometer for 3 or 4 days is gonna really help put fish in your boat in general. Right before a storm is a great time to target fish. But listen, if you've got the hall pass to go fishing, get out there and fish.
Thanks so much, Michael, for that information. If you want some help from one of the pros, simply go to letsfishtv.com and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit your very own question. Now it's time to find out who wins this week's Big Catch of the Week.
We've got the Camus back on the trailer here at the boat ramp at Tom Steed Reservoir, and it's time right now for this week's winner in the Big Catch of the Week contest. He's Chris Rogers of Tyler, Texas, with a 10.4-pound largemouth bass he caught at Caddo Lake on the Texas-Louisiana border. If you'd like a chance to be our next winner, all you have to do is go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/letsfishtv. Go to the Big Catch of the Week post. Every Tuesday we put one up, so go to last Tuesday's post, follow the instructions there to give us all the details, and attach your photo.
Here's today's Right Stuff, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Next up, it's the Academy Right Stuff, the right gear that we used out there on Tom Steed Lake today. And it begins with the Lew's Custom Speed Stick Rod and the Lew's Speed Spin Reel. We had it spooled up with 12-pound, which is pretty big for a spinning reel, fluorocarbon line. And we caught most of our fish today on a 3/16-ounce Mo-Glo jig head by Bobby Garland and the Bobby Garland Slab Slayer plastic body. That did a great job in all that brush today in deep water. Now there's a couple of other things I want to show you. You saw me today weighing that big 2-pound 5-ounce crappie on the H2O Express scale, digital scale. They also make a great line of products sold by Academy. They've got fish grippers, electric fillet knives, line nippers that will nip your braided line or your monofilament or fluorocarbon. H2O Express makes some really useful gear, and you can see it all on the Academy website or at your local Academy Sports and Outdoors store. The coronavirus pandemic of 2020 exposed some things that I've never seen in my entire life. I've seen fear and what fear does to people like I've never seen before. I literally know people who have not left their home during the entire pandemic. It makes us do crazy things like hoard toilet paper. Now, in the 1932 inaugural address, Franklin Roosevelt uttered the now famous line, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." And that was during the Great Depression, which lasted 10 years. Now, the chances are pandemics won't last that long. So here's the deal. We need to slow down, relax, think clearly, take a deep breath, go for a walk, turn off the news, and stop reading social media. Why? Because many times fear itself is worse than the very thing that we're fearful of. And before we get out of here, I'd like to give you the contact information for my good friend Todd Huckabee, who runs a very professional guide service, mostly on Lake Eufaula in eastern Oklahoma, but he does guide some here at Tom Steed. You need to book that well in advance. Todd will do you a great job and catch you a bunch of mainly crappie. You can contact him at either his Facebook page or his Instagram page. Those addresses are on your screen right now. From beautiful Tom Steed Reservoir in western Oklahoma, until next week, let's fish, everybody. I'm Barry Stokes saying be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.